we went to the ER, and the doctor said, "Hey, I don't think we've seen these results before. So we're not sure. We're trying to figure out what the next course of action is." And I was like, "Give me a second." Went into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said,
hold my beer.
"Yeah, and this is at Stanford, literally the best doctors and hospitals in the country." And it said, "You saw something similar in April," and it gave me the date and it gave me the results. And it said, here's, tell the doctor this." And I literally repeated. I'm like, "All right, this is what we got." And he said, "Okay, let me check." And he went, and then he came back a little later. He says, "Hell, if you weren't right, that was, you're right. In April, we had something similar." All right, Rush Hour Podcast 2026 already. All right.
Crazy, man.
It's wild. All right, here are 3 things that happened this week that you got to pay attention to. And one of them is not this giant cut in my nose. Try to ignore that. All right, I'm TW. This is Justin. We're 2 non-technical tech guys with 30 plus years of experience in this tech industry. And we're trying to give you the latest game on what's going on this week. Number 1, ChatGPT launches a new health tool. What's up with that? We got the coolest things at CES. That's the biggest consumer electronics show in Vegas. And lastly, our thoughts on the upcoming job market for 2026. Wow, I can't even say it.
We're gonna get through it, man. It's okay. Yeah. It's a new year.
All right, let's kick it off. ChatGPT launches a health tool. What do we know about this?
Yeah, so ChatGPT just launched a health product without calling itself a doctor. So they just released this ChatGPT Health, which is basically a dedicated space inside of ChatGPT for health and wellness conversations. It's actually really interesting. OpenAI says that 230 million users already ask health questions weekly, which signals a real massive opportunity here. And now they're just formalizing that behavior into the product. So health chats are siloed so that the context doesn't leak into unrelated conversations. They're pushing a kind of the privacy piece there. And it's also, the system can still reference relevant non-medical context like fitness goals to personalized advice without fully merging chat histories. And it can also integrate wellness platforms like Apple Health and MyFitnessPal and others to bring in approved data. So the leadership of OpenAI is basically saying this is a response to healthcare's biggest gaps. We're not recreating doctors, but we're trying to give people more access to information around costs and just fragmented care and providing a dedicated space for that. Now, I think this is particularly interesting relative to some of the conversations we've had in an earlier podcast about your healthcare journey and things going on with your family. So does this kind of make sense as the next step? It seems like it dovetails into what we discussed before, but what are your initial reactions?
No, it totally makes sense. It's not a surprise at all. I mean, you and I talked about what I've done with ChatGPT to help my mother in her battle. I mean, it's been incredible. Actually, ChatGPT, OpenAI reached out and asked to film a little documentary about my journey using it, and they said it was an incredible sort of path or an incredible story on how to use ChatGPT. And all of the things that they're bringing are really what I'm doing in terms of having its own sort of feed and putting in all of the information to sort of develop a health plan and guide along with doctors, not replacing doctors. So it's not a surprise. I think the tool is incredible if you know how to use it. I think for me personally, one sort of thing that happened along the way was asking ChatGPT, how else can I use this better for my mother? Like, what else can I do? And the tip that it gave me that I really utilized was, it said to tell me to save her results and the timing, and I can reference them later anytime. So I said, yes, let's do that. Make sure you say, like, I'm going to keep it all in this thread. And I'm going to put all of, blood test results, every ER, all those notes. I want to make sure you document and save it in memory. And then it was able to do it. And I told you about it. One time we went to the ER and the doctor said, "Hey, I don't think we've seen these results before. So we're not sure. We're trying to figure out what the next course of action is." And I was like, "Give me a second." Went into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said,
hold my beer.
Yeah, this is at Stanford, literally the best doctors and hospitals in the country. And it said, You saw something similar in April, and it gave me the date and it gave me the results. And it said, here's, tell the doctor this. And I literally repeated, I'm like, all right, this is what we got. And he said, okay, let me check. And he went, and then he came back a little later. And he says, hell, if you weren't right, that was, you're right. In April, we had something similar. I'm going to use the same antibiotics. We're going to do it. And like, she got out of the hospital much quicker.
Wow.
Reduce the number of tests. Like, it's amazing. Like, and I just use it literally as an assistant in my pocket. And it's hard for a doctor to have that sort of knowledge, right? Because we did 32 visits to the hospital this year. So for him to look over 32 visits of
Yeah.
notes and compare the things, it's really hard.
Yeah. Two things kind of stand out there for me, which is one, even if they have better tools for collecting all that data, they still need to almost learn how to do prompt engineering to find out what is most relevant within the context of all that data, right? Or it needs to
Right.
figure out like a better way to kind of summarize and up level that. Because the fact that you had to do it instead of, and it wasn't just automatically like pulled from the doctor, that's really interesting and unique.
The doctor was like,
insight.
oh boy, I'm in trouble. Because I told him what I was doing. I was like, hey, I've got everything stored in ChatGPT, and I reference it, and I make my own charts, and I try to help her. And he was just like, oh, wow. Okay.
Like,
and
the fact that he was blown away, I mean, there's probably a full episode that we could talk about there. It actually might be good to bring a doc. Maybe we could do that. We could bring a doctor in to talk about how they're using these tools. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
the other thing that stood out for me is around the obvious privacy sensitivities and concerns. And I imagine a lot of people who would want to do this for the parents, they have aging parents or have specific medical challenges that there's just not an abundance of data. So they need to use a tool like ChatGPT. Based on your experience, how would you kind of assuage those concerns, or how are you thinking about that in your own practice?
I was concerned about it at first, but once I saw the power and the pros of it, I said, you know what? The downside is what I'm going to get a bunch of ads, and I'm going to get more calls about this, or I don't know. I couldn't even really pinpoint what's the worst case scenario of putting this, that I'm going through this, into ChatGPT. So I just started doing it, and I hadn't looked back. It was really helpful. Like I told you, I put in her diet, I had her glucose monitor. I was putting every blood result in there, the doctor's notes. Like, Stanford is great because they have their own app, and it has all the tools. So I would snapshot all that and upload it into ChatGPT. And I really worked the thing to my advantage to have all the data in one place and then reference it constantly. It was super helpful. When she wasn't feeling well, I would say, hey, when's the last time she felt like this? What do we do? What are the things? And it would pull all that up for me every time.
It's amazing.
I'd say, hey, look, here. I was diligent about putting in her diet, and then following up with, here's what her blood sugar looked like after eating that, and then it formulated better diets for her over time as well. So it was really interesting, incredible. So now my mother, she hates the diet part, but she absolutely feels better. There's no question about it. So it's kind of wild.
It's interesting when they first kind of released that they're going to start to roll this out. I was thinking about something that we talked about before relative to OpenAI and their ability to challenge Apple in some ways. And to me, this feels like the clearest challenge to Apple yet, in that they have this secure kind of health data system that aggregates all this data, encrypts this data. It's integrated across all the apps, and then it simplifies the healthcare journey. This seems to be right in Apple's wheelhouse with their products. So you think of Jony Ive and some of the hardware products that they're making there with this new capabilities. That could be really interesting in terms of a true kind of healthcare competitive threat to Apple's ecosystem too.
Absolutely. And I think there's been some rumors that it's going to be a pen. I don't know if that's true or not.
A pen?
A P-E-N, a pen, not a pin.
A pen. Wow.
Yeah. A pen that has a mic and a camera, and obviously it's tracking what you're writing, and it's storing that. So you can write it on a napkin, throw the napkin away, and it's in your pen.
I've seen something I don't know if it was within the context of CES, which is actually, maybe we could transition over that topic, but I did see some video where a guy had a pen that had all these different cameras in it, and then you could write stuff down, and then it would upload it to their LLM or to their system. So Yeah, wow. I never thought about it being a pen. That's really interesting. Love to see how that
Yeah, I didn't think
plays
I
out.
thought it was going to be a wearable. I didn't. I mean, I have a terrible history of losing pens, so I'm not sure.
Same, bro.
I'm not trying to lose a
Pens.
$1,000 pen, but
Hey,
with all
listen.
my health data on there, great, wonderful.
I
I can
know.
leave that at
Yo,
Starbucks.
pens and chapstick are like my arch nemesis, bro.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't. I'll buy it, and hopefully, I'm not looking crusty now. Hopefully, on this video, we'll have to see. But yeah, I just lose it all the time, so that's super funny.
Yeah, let's go that. Coolest things at CES. That's what we had. CES. Have you ever been? Have you done that before?
I haven't been. I have had opportunities to go. It's just there's other conferences in Vegas. I've been to a lot of mobile growth stuff and haven't quite made it to the CS. It was more kind of like hardware focused, so it wasn't necessarily my lane. But I think we should like go next year. We should just say, hey, let's
like
go.
it.
And we can cover it, which would be kind of fun. Maybe we'll grow enough that we can get some credentials. But everyone's covering big CS launches. But what I thought we could do today is cover stuff that makes you say, why does this exist? So let's jump into some of our favorite weird tech. So Razer introduced Project Ava, which was originally launched last year as an esports AI coach. And what that's evolved into is something new, which is like a 5.5-inch animated holographic desk companion that also is a gaming assistant, has gaming strategies, productivity, and daily organizations. And it's kind of like a gaming ally and everyday assistant. So we'll put the link to the YouTube video in the show notes, but think of it as kind of like this almost kind of glass case about yay high that has it anime avatar in it. And it can see what you're working on. So it has that context. It can see while you're gaming. It can even tell you what time to wake up, etc. But you can choose from a bunch of different characters. It has eye tracking, cool avatars, and even lip syncing. The biggest thing is that it has the constant monitoring. So that could be a little odd for folks at first, but it's just a concept for now. So we'll see how that plays. But what do you think about that? Is that something you would use for like a little assistant that just sits by your desk and can kind of get all the context on
it seems like
everything you're doing?
You really got to be an early adopter to get that, right? Because that seems like that's going to change a lot. But if I got it as a gift, I think I would try. It seems like something worth trying. To see how it operates. It sounds like a dumb purchase I would make.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I have to see how much it costs. Again, it's just a concept right now, so I don't think they had the pricing on it. But I guess if you're an avid gamer and you're spending a lot of time practicing, and this can not only help you with tips, but also provide some companionship, like I can see the use case of it. AI companions have exploded in interest, and so it just kind of seems adjacent to that trend, and we'll see. No, maybe no bad ideas right now. We'll see. We'll see your next one, and then everybody can decide if that one doesn't make sense.
All right, how about this one? I thought this one was hilarious.
Yeah.
Lollipop Stars showcased a tasty new product which delivers music through bone conduction while it's in your mouth, and this is a lollipop that plays ice spice in your head, through your teeth into your ears. What do you think about that? How crazy?
I'm just trying to like conceptualize exactly how that works. Like,
I guess you fill it up with a fruity flavored gel,
okay,
and then the music comes through while you're like eating a fake lollipop.
Okay, if I had a straw man like the positive use case for this, I would say we've talked a lot about the inundation of people with different types of digital media and ads and online content, et cetera. And it's almost becoming so overwhelming that I think we've postulated, and I think we both agreed that like there's a lot more stuff that's going to be happening in kind of the experience economy and different types of products. And so I think you can align it with that. Like, what are things that combine technology, but also a human experience, something that you can actually kind of physically interact with that feels novel? Maybe this somehow plays into that. It still feels a bit out there, but if I had to make the case, it aligns with experiential things that are new and exciting.
Yeah. No, it's early adopter novelty kind of thing that you don't expect to use forever. It's one of those things where maybe on the subway, as a kid in the back of the car where the radio is playing, that you can listen to your own thing. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And the fact that it has just one or two songs built into it is kind of ridiculous. But again, I could see a use case where this would be interesting, though. Like
I got to meet the founders of this. How do you even come up with this? I mean, it's pretty.
lollipop star. They're welcome to come on and talk to us about it.
Yeah, I would love to talk to them about that.
Lollipop star. Who would ever thought of that? That's great.
It's
I
crazy.
love it. What's the next one?
Yeah. So last topic that I had here, we're going into the new year. We're in the tech space. Like that's kind of our playing ground. We've been in it for a long time. We have most of our kind of friends and networks, and we build our careers out here. And there's been a lot of anxiety around jobs and what's going to happen in 2026 and trends. And so 2/3 of CEOs are freezing hiring in 2026 based on Wall Street Journal article. And the safest career move right now is probably opposite of what you've been told. 2/3 of CEOs are planning to freeze hiring in 2026, and forecasters expect minimal hiring growth in 2026. And at a recent CEO gathering, 66% said they plan to reduce headcount or keep their teams flat next year. And this isn't about demand, but more about the uncertainty of AI. And Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller put it this way, quote, "When I talk to CEOs around the country, everybody's telling me we're not hiring because we're waiting to figure out what happens with AI. What jobs can we replace?" And I just think it's really fascinating to see this trend of stagnation within the job market. I think if last year was about cutting jobs, maybe now is about just stagnation and not necessarily cutting as much, but not new hiring. And who does that have an impact on? Well, that has an impact on new grads who are coming out into the market, who are looking for their first opportunities. And they've trained, particularly in our field, and in computer science and data science and ML, and they're ready to go into these jobs, and they're not hiring. And it also impacts other folks like us who are maybe mid-senior career where they can't move.
Yeah.
Kind of locked in place where they're at. There just aren't as many openings. So I think it's a challenging context. I think if it's not mass layoffs this year, that's a benefit, but it's also very difficult for young folks right now. So I don't know. What are you seeing in and around conversations you've had in the ether? Yeah. What's your perspective?
I was on a work trip this week and heard from a number of CEOs that they let go of people because of AI. Like they found they didn't need them anymore, and AI could replace them. And it was a tough decision, but it made them better. So they moved forward and just like, hey, look, this is part of it. And they were hiring more people in the future, but it was really around how they use AI more so than hiring somebody to do a task that potentially AI could do. It's more, no, I need to bring somebody that knows how to use AI. So it's like we're losing a handful of jobs, and maybe you're gaining one or two new ones that really require the use of AI, which I agree. It's the younger ones and people with less experience, because those with a lot of large networks that can really help a business aren't feeling it probably as much, right? Because they're kind of the old school networking and sales and meeting a bunch of people, connecting the dots on a BD level. Like those jobs are hard for AI to replace. So
absolutely,
I think for the younger people, it's like how do I get a little more old school and network and be there with real people all the time and get to know them and understand what they need, I think is really important.
Yeah. And I would say if that's kind of what young people should do, I think for folks who are mid senior, you might want to start thinking about fractional opportunities as well if you feel kind of stuck within your roles. I know this is the kind of journey I've been on for the last year. Obviously, there are ups and downs with any transition, but I think that a lot of companies aren't necessarily hiring full time at the same clip, and there are great opportunities to support companies and also just kind of learn more about what other companies are doing to be successful by doing fractional. And so I think like the accelerated learning, as well as still being able to add value with the added flexibility and optionality, has been great. But again, not for everybody, but if folks are interested in that, they can always kind of reach out to me if they have questions about what's going on and what my last year or so has looked like in making the transition.
Yeah, see, I mean, from the outside, it looks like you're happier, you got more freedom. I mean, obviously, it's pros and cons, but like this is an opportunity for you to stretch yourself a little more too. Like do a little more, get a little more traction, stay busy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think the most rewarding thing for me has been the opportunity to reach back into kind of like the networks that we built over time for people kind of exploring this and help them make that transition, or at least help them think about what it could be like. And I had the opportunity to play some folks at a few companies. So that's been cool, man. When you can kind of finesse the squad and put people on and also add value to the companies, like that's a great mix. So
yeah. If you're looking or thinking about doing something like this, hit Justin up, and you guys LinkedIn will make sure that's in the description. All of your LinkedIn information, if they want. Fractional sounds like something you're interested in. You should hit him up for sure.
yeah, man.
Exciting times.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on the topic? I think we hit everything. I know you
I
got.
think we hit.
Yeah,
I think we hit everything. I would just say again, man, we've been doing this for I think maybe a little, like just around a year now, and just want to thank you. This is your idea. Kind of kick this off as a way to show our kids initially kind of how we were thinking about the world during this time, and it's evolved into something more to that. Where we actually feel like we're helping people and getting insights, and so I want to say I appreciate you for kicking this off. It's been so much fun. It's a highlight of the week, continues to be, and let's see where it keeps going.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's grind it out and see how we do. And any comments, feedback, suggestions, leave it below. Otherwise, make sure you like and follow us. More info below, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good.